Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Recovered on Purpose show, Monday Motivation. I'm super glad you guys are here. We got some exciting stuff to talk about. I actually have a presentation for you about hacking into flow state and getting 5 times more done. Love you guys so much. Enjoy the show and keep living Recovered on Purpose.
The black represents the darkness from which we came. The white represents the light in which we now live. And the red represents the passion it takes to live Recovered on Purpose.
Good morning, everybody. It is good to see you. And today I want to talk about something that, it really changed my life when I started practicing this. And, a lot of you may know that I wrote and published From Chains to Saved in 5 weeks. And it was specifically from doing practices that I'm about to show you in this. And this is actually from a part of a training in my course, Recovery Speaker, that I do every Friday with this group of people that are helping people that are coming out of prison. And what I was showing them was this kind of practice is you're able to use this across everything that you're doing. You can do this when you're learning. You can do this when you're working on a task, when you are doing something that that you need to get done. And that's also a mindset that we found that a lot of people need to change when they sit down to work on something. When you have a specific goal in mind, when you sit down to do something, you want to have something that you can complete in the time that you sit down to do it. I'm going to show you in this exactly why that is. And yeah, let's get into it. Excited about it. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So, and this comes from a part of the course that I call the Great Distractor Secretary. And this is when there's something in your head. A lot of people might call it your disease, or some people call it the devil, or your lower self. And what I do with this is I use that voice that's trying to distract me from things to remind me what I actually have to do. And I actually have a set aside journal, a specific journal set for this. Whenever I sit down to work on something, I write out the thoughts that it's telling me. And then when I go down to work, or actually I'm going to get into that in a second because we're talking about it here. So getting everything you need to done. So think about, what is the focus of your life right now that is priority to finish? Is there something that you really want to do? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to finish a certification for addiction counseling? Or do you want to finish a graduate degree, or whatever's in your life that you want to finish? I want you to think about what the priority is right now to finish while we go into this presentation. And then what are the thoughts that you're having on a daily basis that are distracting you from this? Some thoughts that came up from our group is some worry about finances. They're constantly thinking about finances. Another one, somebody continually was stressed out, feeling like they're running out of time. And if we're having those thoughts, they're saying something. It doesn't mean that just stop thinking about your finances and you'll be okay. No, it means that voice is telling you, if you're worried about that, we need to start working on whatever it is that will actually free us from those thoughts. Then if we're stressed out about running out of time and things like that, there's hacks that you can do to manage your time, to make it so that it is more valuable, you can get things done, and you're not feeling like you're running out of time all the time. So write down what the thoughts are that you're having that are distracting you from the priority that you need to finish. And then when you sit down to work on something, and this is something I literally practice every single day, okay? When you sit down to work on something, if you have a focused mindset that you're sitting down to complete it, it takes anywhere between 18 and 25 minutes of focused, energetic time on a task to get what's called flow state, to get yourself in a state of flow where you're just getting stuff done. You're not thinking about, I'm about to say that right here. So symptoms of flow state, when you know that you're in flow state, and once you guys actually hack into this, you'll know the difference of getting into a place where you're just boom, 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 getting things done. And when you're just sitting down to do something and it's just, you're just working on it, right? You'll know the difference, and it's extremely, extremely euphoric. So one symptom is you're completely focused on one task. You're not, noticing people calling you. You're not thinking about what's going on Facebook. You're not thinking about, your financial stress and things like that. You're extremely and 100% focused on the task right in front of you. And this is something that's taught in the fellowships also. This is taught that you want to be completely present in the moment. And that's what we're talking about here. And this flow state is it's a sign of being completely present in the moment. You're not thinking about all these other things going on. So you're completely focused in the moment and on the task. Another one is you're not thinking self-conscious thoughts about your life or your performance in the task at hand. So that's a symptom of flow state. Does that sound good to you, to not be self-conscious about your own performance or self-conscious about your financial stress and things in the moment when you're getting things done? It's a symptom of flow state. Enjoyment of the process in completing the task. So you actually are enjoying the work that you're doing. You're enjoying the time that you're having working on this thing. And again, this can be learning. It can be working on a specific task, working on homework. It can be, working on your fellowship work, working on your 12 steps, things like that. Enjoying the process instead of feeling like, oh, I'm just working right now. Like you literally get into a place where you're enjoying it. And it offsets the frustration of difficult tasks and it turns the frustration into enjoyment. So when you have a task that is difficult and it's frustrating you, when you hack into flow state, you actually trigger something in your mind that enjoys the process. And it's euphoric. So this is how you're going to hack into flow state. And first, we're going to talk about how to choose tasks that are actually able to get you to flow state. I'm going to say good morning real quick. What's up, Jessica? Good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you, family. Pam, what's up, Pam? Good morning. We're talking about hacking into flow state when you're working on something and getting things done 5 times faster. So to choose a task that you're able to get into flow state with, these are a couple scales that, and they found all of this is based on science also. All of this is based on science. This is based on, reality of what's possible. So if you're working on a task that, for instance, let's go right here. If you're working on a task that the challenge level is medium and your skill level is low, then you won't be able to work on that task without being worried, because you're feeling like, oh, I may not be good enough for this, and I don't think I can finish this, and that kind of stuff. So, and then if you pick something that's high challenge level and you are low skill level, you will be in a frustrated state. You'll be anxious about the work you're doing. You won't be able to get into anything near flow state. So when you have a task that needs to be done, that's a high challenge level and your skill level is low, what you first need to do, especially if this is something that is taking you to the priority that we were talking about earlier, you have to build your skill level. And in order to do that, what you can do, is learn. Specifically, to get to a place of flow towards your priority list, if the exact thing you have to get done is on a high challenge scale and you have a low skill level for it, you have to start picking ways to build your skill level that are challenging and you can do. So for instance, do you know how to read? Do you have a high level of skill for reading? Then pick something that is, a challenge to learn, and then pick up a book and read it. And when you use these tasks, these hacks that we're about to talk about, you can get into a place where when you're reading a book, you are consuming it in a way where you are learning multiple times more than you would if you're not in flow state. And then this is another kind of example of how it works. Flow zone, you can get into a place of flow if you're at low skill level and it's low challenge, but it's also a place of apathy, which means like just coasting along, nothing challenging, nothing really, that is exciting you to do. It's just like you're just coasting along, doing whatever, comes at you. So there is a way to get into flow for that, but it's not the same kind of euphoric feeling. And then there's also this area here. If you have a medium skill level to something that has a medium challenge, then you can get into a flow state, but it's a little bit more euphoric, but you're still not going to be as excited about something where the challenge level is high. You know that you have to change who you are. You have to become a different identity in order to get this done. Now, this is how you actually hack into flow state. And then I'm going to show you the actual scientific benefits of being in flow state. So again, it takes upwards of 25 minutes of real focused work to get into flow state. Some of these things are specifically based on science, and this is what they did in the study. And then some of these are skills and hacks that I've come up with and that I teach in the course to hack this quicker. Because for me now, after practicing this over and over and over and over and having a routine, I'm able to hack flow state in 5 or 10 minutes. And I get into this place where there is nothing else going on, and I am just getting this thing done really, really quick. So you want to have a work startup routine. And this is for anything. If you're learning, if you're working on task, if you are, getting to a place where you're working with a sponsee, working on school, you want to have a work startup routine. First thing, we've all heard it, but this is huge. Phone on silent and out of sight. And they've done studies where they had two people at, let's say, a table, and they were at dinner or something. And even if you had your phone next to you on the table with the face down and on silent, just the fact that you can see your phone, your mind acts in a way where it thinks there's a third person in the conversation that it's leaving out, and it's constantly thinking about the phone. So putting your phone on silent and putting it away is the first step to hacking yourself into flow state. You're not thinking about text messages coming in. No one can distract you and call you at that moment. And you can call or text back whoever it is 30 minutes from now, an hour from now, when you get this thing done. Write down the task and steps to completion. So put the phone away and then literally sit down and write down what you're about to work on. I am going to finish my homework assignment for algebra. And then you write down the tasks that you have to do in order to complete it. Number 1, read chapter 3. Number 2, work on the problem. Number 3, show the work, that kind of stuff. And you do the steps that you actually have to do so that your mind recognizes, what you're about to do, where you're about to go, and how to complete what you're sitting down to do. There's a mindset shift when we sit down to complete something and we sit down to work on something. So that's another hack to getting into flow state, is going into work to complete what you're about to sit down to work on. Write out the thoughts in the moment. And this is something that I do, and I started teaching in the course. This hasn't been, they haven't used this for scientific studies, but it's what I use to hack into it really, really quick. And this is something I use for the great distractor secretary. Like I was talking about before, that voice that comes into you and tries to take you away from what you're doing, tells you, oh, I need to do this and I need to do this. Hey, have you called your mom today? And, all that stuff. So you sit down and you write out your thoughts. After you write the steps that you have to take to get this thing done, you write out your thoughts. Just write out what's going on in your mind. And then as you're working on the task, as you're actually working on the task and you're working on that checklist, when the great distractor starts telling you things that you need to get done, like, hey, sweep the floor, or hey, call your mom, or hey, have you seen what's going on Facebook? That kind of stuff, just write it down as it comes on a checklist in your journal right next to you. Because what will end up happening is that as you're writing them down, sometimes, and a lot of times, it's reminding you of stuff you actually have to get done. So I use it as a secretary to remind me of little tasks that I just have to do later, and I write it down. And then once they're in existence, away from my task, I'm able to come back to it later and actually go through that to-do list and finish all that stuff as well. And then you're going to continue to write these down until none of them are coming anymore. And again, one of the symptoms of flow state is that you are completely focused on the task. So as these thoughts are coming in, a really quick way to get them to go away is put them into existence, write them down real quick. And it's really helpful because these things probably still need to get done at some point. You're just putting them in existence and staying focused on the task at hand. And then you work until the task is completed. And this is a muscle. This is something that you have to train yourself to do. You have to train your mind that when you sit down to do something, you're sitting down until it's completed. And what will happen after some time of practicing this is you will start to get things finished quicker. Your mind will know, hey, I need to get this done. Nothing else matters except for getting this done. And here's what the benefits are of flow state. And these are just the top 3 that are based on studies, based on science of people doing this type of startup routine and getting into flow state. You increase your productivity by 500%. That means that a task that would normally take you 5 hours, you'll be able to get done in 1 hour. That's huge. For being able to get something done in 5 years, you get it done in 1 year. 500% productivity. You amplify your creativity by 4 to 7 times. 4 to 700%. That means, when your mind is completely focused on the task at hand, when something comes up, when a problem comes up that, normally would just frustrate you, your mind is in a creative state to complete the task that you automatically come up with a solution right away. Your creativity is enhanced 4 to 700%. And you improve your learning rate by 490%. So if you're someone that likes to read, when you sit down to read, if you just do a simple routine to start up your learning time, to start up your work time, everything that you read, you will retain and remember 490% more than normal. So I don't know about you guys, but this is something that I love. It's euphoric. It feels amazing. You know that you're improving and you're getting things done that, you need to get done. So highly recommend hacking into flow state. And this is obviously going to be up on YouTube. This is going to be up on Facebook. You can come back to it to get that routine down for yourself when you are ready to start practicing it. I love you guys. Get some stuff done this week and keep living Recovered on Purpose.